explain what are the topics we are going to cover and what the approach we are going to follow. So we may not discuss very subject in detail, but the topics or the need of the topic, what are the topics we are going to cover is more important. So what exactly Java? Java, we can say a technology which provides a language. Java has a language and provides Java runtime environment, provides a platform. So when you are talking about Java full stack, we are not going to just talk about Java programming. We need to create an end-to-end application. If you want to create one end-to-end application, different languages are required, tools are required, libraries are required, frameworks are required. So to create a complete application and deployment environment also we need to know. So we are going to cover everything. Initially, we are going to start the basics of Java or essentials of Java, that is called core Java. So even you know programming or not, we are going to start from very scratch. You need to understand programming concept. You need to work on every day on assignment on the task. So initially we are going to set up Java environment in locally. Initially we are going to use simple command prompt and notepad like tools we can use to write a program, to run the program. Because initial days we are not going to recommend IDEs. We have Eclipse IDE, we have a NetBeans IDE. In real time, in real world application, we must and should we have to use IDEs, because in order to get more productivity in application development, different tools we need to use it. But initially, without using IDE tools, simple notepad and command prompt we are going to use to write an application, so that you need to know how to write each and every word, each and every statement by remembering the syntax. And any error you are going to get, you need to understand error, you need to give solution. Because when you are using IDE, code generation, code completion, auto correction may be happen, that we are going to avoid, because we need to learn programming. So once we set up our local environment, we are going to use the different tools to compile and to run the program. Compilation is the process of converting high-level language source code into the byte code, that what we call dot class file, what we call byte code. Then what are the data types, or the different types of data we have, and control structures like conditional statement and looping statement we are going to see. So when you are a fresher, if you are attending an interview, every interview they may ask you something like some question, coding questions they may ask you. You need to write some logic for a given requirement. So standard example like statements, we have pattern generation examples. We are going to see multiple examples. We are going to implement algorithm. So not just learning of the standard example, we need to know how to generate logic. So I will give you the standard scenario, how you need to think about a requirement, how you are going to implement it. Then the concept of arrays, command line arguments, how to take input and output, basic input output from the command line arguments and the scanner class. So once after understanding a very basic, very fundamental topic, then we talk about object-oriented programming concept. Java, one of the feature of Java is object orientation. One more feature of Java basically here, one more feature, multi-threading feature, like different platform independent feature. So we need to understand object-oriented programming and the corresponding principles and implementation in Java language. Object orientation implementation can be done in the Java, or you can use Python, you can use JavaScript, you can use the .NET C# language. But our focus on what are the features of object orientation, theoretically implementation in terms of Java language with a different keyword and the concepts. What are the object, what are the class, what are the reference, what are the static, what are the non-static, the usage of constructor, overloading, overriding. 1 second. So we need to understand each and every concept clearly. Then we have to implement multiple examples. Here we are going to take one case study, not just writing simple A plus B program. We are going to take one case study. On the case study, each and every feature we are going to apply it. Parallelly, we are going to give one project requirement that you need to work on it to get hands-on experience, whatever the topics you are learning right now. Then the usage of inheritance concept, super keyboard, and the concept of abstract classes, final keyboard, interfaces, and package concept we are going to see. While working on interfaces, we are going to know some of the important features of Java 8. Java 8. So that where we are going to use Java 8 feature. Out of one of the Java 8 feature, we have a lambda expression. Lambda expression. So those lambda expression plays very important role when you are writing a complex nowadays latest application approach. For the functional interface, lambda expression, those topic we can see in detail. Then string handling and the corresponding utilities and exception handling mechanism and multi-threading features and input-output concept, networking, basic GUI program, you can see it. Then collection framework, one of the very, very important topic, even interview point of view or building an application point of view. Any doubts, please let me know in between. You can interrupt the class at any time. And after discussing the basic collection framework and related API, we need to see one more important feature related to collection. Is also one of the important features of Java 8, collection streaming API. So we have a map, filter, reduce, or the need of stream API, or the advantage of streaming API, how effective data processing can happen with a compact syntax in a chained format, we are going to discuss. Then after database, SQL, we are going to learn SQL language in the context of MySQL and Oracle, different categories of command, different commands of SQL. Most particularly, SQL select statement, you have to pay attention. We need to write complex query by combining multiple tables with thousands of rows. So we need to understand primary key, foreign key relationship and all the things we have to write joins concept, inner queries. So that is very, very important. If you go to interview, they may ask you at least asking of one question. The later integration of Java application with database in a pure format, JDBC. Some of the classes we are going to learn parallelly also to understand not directly relevant concept in parallelly, so that we can discuss more topics in a given time frame. Then after HTML, CSS, basic bootstrap concept we are going to learn. That basically what we call web technologies. What are web technologies, what are web server, what are the web page, what are the dynamic content, what are the static content, how we are going to working on web server, how we are going to deploy an application, we will see it. So then we talk about server-side dynamic content. Server-side dynamic content, what are servlets, what are the JSP, what are the technology, how we are going to create one MVC application, MVC architecture application by using servers and JSP, HTML, CSS, Bootstrap concept. Okay. So here we are going to implement one end-to-end e-commerce application, creation of products and viewing of products like that, adding items to cart and placing an order for user management. By implementing all the features, you are able to get one single project in your hand. So then we talk about web services topic. What are the web services? What are the SOAP? What are the REST? What are the JSON? What are the XML? The ecosystem of web services we are going to understand. Then later on, we are going to see frameworks. Nowadays, when you are working on Java, without using the word Spring, no Java application can end. So Spring initially started as Spring framework, an application framework which contains a set of modules. Nowadays, Spring is a family of projects. Spring Boot, Spring Framework, Spring Cloud, Spring Data, Spring Security, like different projects available. Each project contains different sub-projects. We are going to understand each and everything practically with real-time case studies. And within the Spring framework, we have one of the important feature called Spring Core IOC container. What exactly IOC? What the AOP? How we are going to implement? We can discuss. Then Spring Boot. What the advantage of Spring Boot? What the features of Spring Boot? How modern Spring-based application we are going to create within the Spring Boot environment with less configuration, with existing dependencies, starter dependencies. Then we try to understand the concept of implementation of services, API services, and then we need to understand JPA and basically what we call ORM functionality, the Hibernate. So then we need to understand the concept of REST API implementation, Spring Security, and the metrics concept, and very important topic, one more thing called microservices. What exactly microservices? Why modern application required microservice architecture? How microservices will be implemented with the help of Spring Boot and Spring Cloud projects. And then how deployment and everything we are going to see. Not only this one, we are going to see MongoDB database, how we are going to the cloud services, how we are going to deploy in the cloud environment like AWS, Azure. Also, we will see it. As I told earlier, HTML file, CSS, and Bootstrap we are going to see. In the front-end point of view, we will also learn JavaScript and React. Nowadays, JavaScript also plays very important role. So, a complete language we need to understand, including functions, object-oriented programming, DOM manipulation. We have promises, we have fetch API. We have a concept of except standing, everything we are going to discuss in the terms of JavaScript. Then one of the important library for user interfaces within the JavaScript is React. And not only React, we are going to understand what the Next.js also, what exactly React Native, that idea also we are going to use. But within the React.js, complete front-end application, a single page application we are going to create, that integrating with backend services developed within the Spring environment. Within the React also, we have hooks concept, we have a routing concept, we have a component interaction, we have a Redux library, and everything we are going to see in detail to create a complete application. When you are working on a company, not only these technologies and language and tools are required, we need to understand version control tools. We were going to learn what are the Git, what are the GitHub, what are the different service providers for maintaining of Git repos. That also we see end-to-end application, whatever the feature required, everything we covered. At least on a hands-on project, you need to work on it. Depends on your interest. I will guide you to do more than one project also. But one project, not just like a simple A+B like program. We need to write a full-fledged application with the necessary feature for a given requirement. The same thing you need to place in a resume. If you go to any interview, you need to talk about your project, your work in the interview. They may ask you some questions related to the work, whatever you did. You are ready to give answer. We are going to conduct mock interviews and we are going to give you regular assignment. If you attend those things, if you practice every day, definitely have a better chances to get into the industry. Or one interview or two interviews, but focus on complete support we are going to do. Whatever the everyday, everything practically we are going to implement. Everyday class will start with the basic introduction of the topic and the syntax and semantic and the real implementation. Every line, every character I am going to type in front of you, how we need to proceed further to get you a basic requirement. That approach we are going to follow. No showing of standard example, not like that. Completely hands-on. So I can do hands-on. You need to work also hands-on together. At any time, you can raise your question, whether you are attending online or offline. You need to raise the question. You need to ask question. Any error you are getting or any warning you are going to get, you need to get clarification from my side. And so that all about what the approach we are going to follow, the content we are going to cover. Okay. So subject point of view, don't bother about. So whatever the guidance required, whatever the implementation notes we want, everything we are going to use. The only thing is you have to practice, you have to raise questions, you have to take the assessment and interviews to get you a knowledge related to the skill related to the technology we are learning right now. Please let me know any questions or doubts or any specific requirements you have so that I will give you more clarity. Yes, tell me. Kannaya, can you hear me? Hello. 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 Can you hear me? Hello. At least respond through messages so that I can understand whether you are listening or not. ఏమ్మా ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉంటే చెప్పండి అమ్మా. నేను క్వశ్చన్స్ కానీ డౌట్స్ ఉంటే నాకు అర్థమవుతుంది. జస్ట్ నేను చెప్పుకుంటూ వెళ్ళిపోవడం కాదు, అది ఇవాళైనా రేపైనా సరే మీరు నాతో మాట్లాడుతూ ఉంటే నాకు అర్థమవుతుంది. సో మీరు ఏం నేర్చుకున్నా సరే అది క్లారిటీగా టాపిక్ బై టాపిక్ ఇంప్లిమెంటేషన్ చేస్తాం. కానీ మీరు రెగ్యులర్గా ప్రాక్టీస్ చేస్తే యు ఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు గెట్ హ్యాండ్స్ ఆన్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ సో దట్ మీరు ఇంటర్వ్యూకి వెళ్ళినప్పుడు మీరు మాట్లాడగలరు. దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు ప్రొవైడ్. ఏమైనా క్వశ్చన్స్ ఉంటే అడగండి, లేకపోతే నేను వైండ్ అప్ చేశాను సెషన్.